So today in the shop, we want to work on Rip's Ninja fairing. If all goes well, we'll get it done today. And even at the end of it, we'll get it polished up for him, get it assembled, so he'll be ready to pick it up. And Rip, when you see this, give me a call and make some arrangements to pick it up. It actually came out great. I'm going to try to show how I lined up the bolts today, among other things. And this is a project that's very common in the world of sport bike. Oh, another wonderful day here. Freezing cold in the morning. I can't wait to get out of this garage. I did my battery charger flips. I want to get down in the cellar. I want to try to finish Rip's parts up today if I can. I need to go over to the bolt caddy and get some bolts so I can do a dummy mock-up of the parts. And I'll try to show that in detail. And that is a critical part of doing that kind of a job where you create tabs in outer space. And it's the most difficult thing to fix a part where there's a part here and a part here and you have to join them in, I call it joining them in outer space, because they can be crooked, they can be off, and when you go to line up the four holes that are going to hold these parts together, if they don't line up and you put the parts together and then you force the part, it can be a problem. So I'm going to try to show that on this video in real time. It's time consuming, but the thing with all these repairs, it's time consuming. So, and the biggest thing is I just want to get out of this freezing cold garage right now. Ooh, you don't know how cold it is here. If you're out in Florida like Ray is on the beach right now, it's cold, Ray. Now the thing is, Karen does monitor the weather. It is supposed to get up into the 40s this afternoon. But right now it's not in the 40s. And I'm so glad that a lot of this work that I've been doing in the last week or so is basically in the cellar. Because being out here in this temperature, not that much fun. But there's a bottom line to everything, and the bottom line is most of these bikes right now, I shouldn't say most of them, all of them, if the weather warms up, we're ready to go riding any one of them. And that's the way I try to maintain things. So a few months from now when spring gets here, we're ready to just go get the pitching rotation going, and every day will be a riding day. But right now, it's every day is drinking coffee day. I got to get in there and make some coffee. It's cold out here. And I was hoping once we get Rip's parts finished and the weather warms up to where it's not 10 degrees below freezing, I'd be able to get that engine repolished. That is really on my priority list right now. It's right near the top. Actually, we got two engines to repolish. Maybe I can get them both done in one day, but the whole thing is back in the day, the engine was a part of the bike that you wanted to see. Modern bikes, it's flat black city and it looks like a loaf of bread. But back in the day, those air-cooled engines, they were always the focal point of the motorcycle. So it is supposed to go to 40 degrees later today, but that's the whole problem with everything. Later today can be 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you never know. But I know I want to get those parts for Rip, try to get them done today. So while I'm out here in a freezing garage so I don't have to come out here later, I'm going to take a good selection of bolts and nuts down because I'm going to want to put these parts together and as one unit and make sure all these things all line up. So it'll be like a, I don't know what the right word would be, like just a dry fit of the parts so once they go back on a motorcycle they're not under any stress. I also looked in my junk drawer, and if Rip needs this, I'll offer this to him if he needs it. But see, this is the thing, you need that little metal sleeves so you can't over tighten around that front of the fairing. So I'll see when he comes to pick the parts up in a couple days. If he needs that, we certainly can spot him that part, but we do need to have the bolts and nuts to put this together later in the day. Okay, we got a lot of customers this morning. I think we're going to make some real money at this restaurant today. Who says you can't make money during the coronavirus? We're making a lot of money feeding these birds. We got full customers. Let's get this day off on a right note here. It's pretty funny. We're sitting here reading the paper, having coffee, and this one bird here, he's mesmerized, checking us out. He's like, what are you guys doing? Hey, could I have some more seeds, please? Why don't you go down and shop and work? Look at this. Karen, he's like a little statue.
This is the kind of entertainment you have every day in our kitchen. Unbelievable.
So today in the shop, the first thing we have to do, now this epoxy has dried 24 hours, so I have to trim off the extra, clean it up a little bit, and then I've got to drill those 2 holes. And those 2 holes, once those bolts are in, I should be able to drill. That'll line me up to drill these 2 holes. So if I don't do it that way, there's a good chance this is going to be under some kind of stress when the parts are bolted together. I think that's the best way to do it. Is to trim off all the overage that I can get the big stuff, then the rest of it I do by hand with a sanding block. Now most of this has to be done by hand because the Dremel tool is just too aggressive about getting this material off. I don't want to take a lot off. I just want to make it that when I touch these parts, I don't wind up getting stuff under my fingernail. Now I want to make sure I have these as flat because these are going to press onto another piece. I think we're going to be ready here soon to drill some holes. But again, there's a sequence to doing this that will make it as accurate as we can make it. And we'll try to do that. And these tabs now, see, you can move the whole motorcycle by these tabs. That's the whole idea. Now the reason we couldn't do this step yesterday is because the epoxy wasn't totally hard. Now it's hard and we can get rid of all these little sharp edges. Again, this is not a cosmetic thing in here. You're not going to see this. My only concern is that with this extra carbon fiber, the nuts that go on here may not fit exactly the way they should. You might have to put regular nuts on this rather than those clip nuts. I don't know, but it's something we have. I wouldn't know until, well, Rip is going to put it together. But Rip, if you have a problem getting these nuts on, just use regular nuts and get your hand somehow in there. Because these clip nuts, this part now is thicker by the amount of the material. Well, maybe you can just spread those clip nuts apart. I don't know. They call them blind nuts, clip nuts. Now, people that don't work with carbon fiber all the time might not realize this. If you don't do this sanding and smoothing and everything, what happens, these little edges, and I'll just show one right there, anything sharp, it becomes a razor blade as that epoxy hardens up. And you have a handful of razor blades. That's why I'm trying to be careful here so you're not prone to, there's one right here I can see. And you always want, look, as I say it, you wind up always cutting your glove. If you didn't wear gloves, that would be your skin. A really good idea to keep the work area as clean as possible. What I do is I change out the towels and go shake them outside. Because all this little carbon fiber dust, not good to breathe. And when it's not sanded down, it is really sharp. It's as sharp as a razor. So we try to keep the area clean. And I look for sharp areas. As soon as I find a sharp area, which I just did, I can just take the sanding block. Now, I don't want to have any sharp areas here. Okay, we're ready to drill out the bolt holes. So these are pretty straightforward. Now this is the side that was not broken. So we know that the alignment here is perfect because these tabs have never been broken. But what we did, of course, is reinforce them before they broke. We did that on a lot of Lad's projects and a lot of Mark Morgan's projects. It's a good idea to reinforce these before they actually break. That really stacks the deck in your favor. But now these up here, I don't know exactly where the hole is going to be. So what I'm going to do is put a little piece of blue tape on top of this, assemble a part using these 2 bolts, and then see if I can get an alignment on this. I get a center and drill a center hole before I drill those out. And I think that actually it's like fitting a cowling to a model plane. I think that's going to be the most accurate way I can do this. Because again, I don't want to put stress on the part. This part has to float in rubber. It literally floats everywhere there's rubber. And when you make So this is the only hard part. There's no rubber in this connection. So this becomes one piece, but that whole one big piece is floating in rubber. And that's exactly how my green Ninja is. Okay, so we just have these two tabs wrapped with painter's tape so I can get this part. Now the thing is to join the two parts using only those two bolts. Now the trick is I want to find the correct size bolt so I don't want to lose that bushing. And we have plenty of bolts, but I want this to be like just as if we were assembling a part on the motorcycle. And I think we have plenty of bolts and nuts here, of course. And a good tip, never throw the bolts away, no matter what you do. Bolts is like having money in a bank. Okay, now we have the bolts, and I'm thinking what Rip might be wanting to do is just use ordinary blind nuts behind it, because I think on my Ninja I can get in there and hold the nuts and not use those nuts that like they're tin cans and you spread them apart. But again, I'll talk to Rip when he comes to pick up the part. So now we have that side bolted together. Now we can work the other side. Okay, so that part is bolted. And what I did, I tried to get the same amount of clearance in here. And there's roughly, I don't know, 1/64 of an inch of clearance. And now this is acting as my template to drill those two holes accurately. I've got the front nice and even, the back's nice and even, and the Gorilla Tape holding it in place. I can mark those with a pen. Now a lot of times just getting these holes accurate, if you don't have them accurate, because don't forget these tabs didn't exist, so they could be floating in some way. And also if these parts were not lined up, I could just put a washer behind there. This looks like it's a pretty good alignment, but we'll see when we actually put the bolts and tighten this all up if it tightens up the way it should. So there's a pretty good rendition of where our holes have to be. Now, to take even a step drill, difficult without making a little, I take the Dremel tool and start that hole. Just get it started. Because if I take the drill and I go off center here, I'm going to lose that black mark. Now I've got a little starter hole that should give me a good chance that that bit is not going to wiggle and go off center. Now that should give us that these four holes in exactly good alignment the way they should be. That should work out as good as I could possibly make it anyway. Now even from a drill hole, that carbon fiber, because we've drilled right through carbon fiber, that drill makes all these little chips, not good debris. So I'm going to shake this. I vacuum it up here. Vacuum it up as much as I can and then shake that towel outside. Now it's good technology that you can use. I've used it on making cowlings for model planes and doing other things. And another thing, and I just thought I'd pass on a good tip. If you have to drill these two holes in another part, I'm just going to make a pretend thing. I didn't think about this till right now. Let's say this was another piece of material. You want to drill two holes. Well, the best way, if you've never worked in a machine shop, is you drill the first hole and put the bolt in, and then you drill the second hole. You don't mark both and then go drill them both on a drill press. You mark one, and when that part is solidly bolted, and that's good machine shop technology, believe me. Ask me how I know. I've thrown a lot of stuff away until I started doing it the right way. Now before I actually bolt this part together, you can see there's a lot of, I guess what Rip had to do is put Gorilla Tape or something up here, but it really left a mess. So what I thought I'd do, I got some prep Prep-Sol, and I thought I'd just try to clean as much of this off as I can. And some of it's coming off, a lot of it isn't. And again, I don't know, because I don't know who actually did the work on the bike. Or like this down here, this looks like something really significant here. But we'll try to clean this up before I do the final assembly. Yeah, it's coming off. It's just going to take time. I've got to keep grinding away at it. It looks like chewing gum, in fact. What kind of gum does Rip chew anyway? Yeah, that's chewing gum. Look at this disgusting stuff. We'll get that off. Trust me, we'll get it off. Boy, this is some tenacious stuff to get off. Holy mackerel. Where are my fingertips out? There's the last of it. We are getting it off. And I'm guessing that was just a stopgap, but you won't need it. I don't think you'll need any tape on this. Hopefully this repair will last. I'm trying to keep this soaked with prep oil because there's quite a bit of this tape around things. And the trick with getting this off is you've just got to keep after it. And just keep it soaked and keep grinding away. The prep oil eventually will kill it. Now, as I'm assembling this for the final, just to look it over and clean it up a little bit, what I think is, and this would be my suggestion here, would be to just be careful not to over tighten these nuts. These nuts, they're in the part that's originally from this part is still plastic. It's not carbon fiber. So another thing too, with all the Japanese, well, I think maybe all bikes period, there's all these little tabs and tangs and things that you have to line up before you can tighten the bolts. And even on the Black Ninja, when you go to put certain parts on, there's little tabs have to go here and there and that. So I want to be real careful when I'm putting this together, just for a dry fit, to make sure everything lines up. As I've tightened up all the bolts, and I'm just looking for anything I think might be worth doing here. I think the only thing I'm going to do here, the fits are perfect. The tabs should be strong unless something happens from vibration or something that I can't even anticipate. Again, this is for Rip's information. I think you should just put regular nuts on the back of these bolts, and I would put them in hand tight with a little bit more with blue Loctite, not crush them together. That's the way I put, when I've worked on this kind of stuff before, that's what I've done. And it's worked pretty good. Anyway, there is a couple little things on here that I think I can, I'm going to get the buffer out, and I'm going to just try to clean some of this up. It's just a shame not to. I always have this thing that when a bike's apart, you should do this kind of stuff, even if it isn't screaming out at you to do it. And I got to look and see, I got to try one more thing here. I want to see if this bushing is the right size. Yes, that looks like the right size. So I'm just going to give this to Rip, and it does have the little piece in there, so I think that's just going to be perfect. And it has to look like that's a perfect fit for the bushing, and that should keep that from cracking. There's not much you can do here. Most of this is rubber mounted, and I'll go around here and just make sure all his screws are tight here. Although what I would say to Rip is when you're all done, go around the whole fairing and make sure everything is hand tight. And I'd put blue Loctite on every one of the bolts, because all of these bikes, I don't care which one they are, they vibrate. Now, if you're like me and you have a small bolt collection, this is a handy thing. I got this from Harbor Freight. I'm always taking these bolts and playing shake and bake with them. This is really a handy tool. And I think it was $2. A product that will do a nice refresh on a finish like this and get off a lot of the oxidation. 8065 4CR, but also the Mothers or the Meguiars, any of the really good compounds will do a nice job of that. And when we're all done, we'll finish it off with some flits. Oh, this is doing a nice job. I can see it's cleaning it right up, cleaning a lot of the oxidation right up. I'm going to finish this off just with a coat of flits, just for a little bit of protection. And I think that finish actually came out pretty good. Of course, there's deep gouges that are not going to come out, but overall, I'd say that finish came out pretty nice. And I think this overall repair, I hope I haven't left out any steps, because I know these old motorcycles and these old parts, and they are they're still a treasure to me anyway. And I'm sure they are to the people that own the motorcycles. And keeping them like this, or keeping them as nice as we can, and we have done a few of them in my lifetime. We've restored a few of them. And I think this one, now Rip, I'm hoping you'll have good luck putting this together, whether you do it or you have a friend do it or a mechanic. But again, I got you the right bushing. I got you some bolts that you can use. You can have those bolts just in case you don't have the right ones. And the nuts are on there. It's got a coat of flitz. I'm wiping the flitz off now by hand. In fact, I think you are pretty much good to go. I think the only thing left on this whole job would be just assembling it. Hopefully everything, and I did a dry fit for you, so I think that should just be perfect. I'm ready to see some pictures of it all assembled. I hope that works out well for you. We're always glad to do a mitzvah for an A-teamer. Now, this is the thing I have to really be very thankful for. I'm happy that the healthcare workers have kept us all, maybe even you and your family too, healthy. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate that. And I hope you've enjoyed the video. I try, again, not to leave out steps, try to make it look like realistic. This is a dirty job. It took us 4 days to do it, 4 shop days. You know, if you rush it, it's just nothing. And it breaks again, and you're sorry you even wasted your time taking it all apart. This, I think, is the way it should be done, the right way. And if you're trying to fix one of your fairings, I would suggest this is the way you do it. It worked for me. It's worked for me for a lot of motorcycle repairs. Just ask Vlad. Anyway, and I hope you did enjoy the video, and thanks so much for watching. So we did get the fairing for Rip done today, and Rip, you're welcome to come and pick it up, make some arrangements with me. You have my phone number. It really came out better than I expected. But like all the things we do in the shop, we have to make decisions along the way. Do you want to do this some cheesy way that takes a couple of shortcuts, or you just want to do it the right way? I think I wound up getting this done the right way. I hope it works out well for you, and I hope you enjoy. This is a bike you should enjoy, well, forever. For all of us. My Ninjas, I think, are going to outlive me, and I hope this one doesn't disappoint in any way. So I hope you did enjoy the video, and again, I never try to leave out steps. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and go Ninjas.